Hey now, hey, you're here and you're back. And I thank you very much. If you have not clicked like, share, and follow Hello Audacity Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, please do so. Thank you for joining us on another episode. I'm your host, Lachey Murray. Before I jump into my next guest, we are spotlighting mental health, honey. This expert that I'm bringing to share the screen with, my co-host, is amazing, doing amazing things in Michigan when it comes to her practice and what she's offering her clients. Stay tuned for more. But let me break down some of this awesomeness that we're doing. Freedoms That Half of Me Made Whole. My ebook is on sale now. Go ahead and grab it, honey. It is the prelude to my solo book. I actually share a lot of not just gems, but reality of what I was able to escape. Oh, honey. It's a deep dive and what I was into, what a lot of people have been into and maybe survived, a lot of us, when it comes to nightlife of Atlanta. I give you also tools and gems and how to recover every aspect of your life so that you can be prosperous, healthy, whole, joyful, and get it, honey, because it's those coins. All right. So I love to share my story. Go ahead, get it. Freedom to Half of Me Made Whole is out there. The book club, Women of Audacity book club, has started. You still have time to join all of the fun. Our book selection this month is 7 Days of June by Tia Williams. Our next meeting is this Friday, the 28th. Also, you have a product, service, gift, or testimony. I want you on the show so that you can spread your wings, your audience. There are benefits for doing guest appearances on the podcast. Trust me, you want to get those sales up, your presence known, your mission known to other people. This is the perfect time. Those of you that have a product that you want to sponsor, have a sponsor, and we can highlight that product or service. We can do that too. I love doing that, being able to reach the masses so that you can increase the goal that you have in mind for your business. Mid-year projections. I know a lot of us are changing what we're wanting as far as our goals. We're updating, we're checking off, and you want to jump in a dream big vision experience today with me. This is the newest concept to the vision board. Everything that you would put on the vision board, you put it on your pillow, honey. We're not just placing stuff on the pillow. That's not what I do. I give you actual strategies needed in order for you to obtain the things that you want to manifest in your life. Mapping, honey, it's yours and you can get it. I give you the strategies needed in order to make them become reality. Also, yes, men. I know I did the invite for people that have a product, gift, or testimony. I want to see more men. I want you men on the show. I need your voice. Let's talk about a trending topic. Let's talk about relationships, finances, something that you're doing that is critical within our communities. It's very important. All right. Our next guest. As we spotlight the segment on mental health, is so important. This expert, Carolada Gilbert, is a licensed master social worker and founder of Serene Counseling and Wellness in Michigan. She specializes in anxiety, depression, and trauma. Her expertise is in cognitive behavioral therapy. She serves individuals, couples, and families to help them achieve their personal goals of mental and emotional wellness, honey. I love all of that. Let's welcome our next co-host. So, Carol, can you introduce yourself to our audience and let them know a little bit more about what you do?
Yes, thank you for having me today. So, yeah, my name, I go by Carol. My full name is Carolada. I am a licensed master social worker, as you said. I have been doing therapy, counseling, social work in some form or fashion for the past 12 years. Recently, my in the past 2 years, my journey has taken me to starting my own private practice where I do counseling, group work, whether it be with individuals, families, couples. And I also am doing speaking engagements where I go around talking about mental health with different age groups and your faith. So I'm really passionate about that. So this is where life has me right now, doing individual therapy or therapy in general with people.
Awesome, awesome. And you're the founder of Serene Counseling and Wellness in Michigan. Now, do you service only clients and, or is it clients or patients in Michigan?
I usually use clients and then patients when it's more medical, but that's just me. That's how I kind of differentiate.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, I'm currently licensed in Michigan. I do also work for a employee assistance program through Spring Health, where I am licensed in Massachusetts to see patients, but it's only through the employee assistance program. So with my business, Michigan, but if after hearing from me, you have an employee assistance program that's through Spring Health, and you're Massachusetts, you may see me, and I would
Okay.
love to be a support to you.
Awesome, awesome. Now you provide telemental health services as well as in person. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. I know that we're going to dive deeper into telemental health because it's so we need to spread more awareness on the everything, the benefits, the resources that's out there for everyone. But I know that you specialize more in anxiety, depression, and trauma. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. I hear and I read that you're doing awesome things with couples and families, along with individuals, to make sure they're meeting their personal goals when it comes to mental health and their emotional needs. And I think I love to do spotlights like this because we need to keep the conversation going and
Mhm.
often.
Yeah.
I always tell people I'm going to be a lifetime patient, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just identifying the needs that you have, and probably times of your life that that are harder than others, depending on what you're facing. I always say, I think I've done a deep dive until I really realized that there's a spot in that deep dive that I need
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
scrub a little bit more. So can you tell us what made you what was the interest? What was the motivation behind getting into this field of work? Because that's hard.
It is hard. Originally, when I was in high school, I took a psychology class, and the different disorders and how the mind works was just really interesting to me. So then when I went to college, I ended up going to in a psychology degree just because I really wanted to talk to people.
Okay.
I'm a quiet person by nature, and people would always come up and talk to me, like, tell me their problems. And,
Yeah.
sometimes it was just a listening ear. And sometimes, they listened to me and I offered some pretty good advice. Not to say all the time, and everybody who offers good advice should do this, but,
Mhm.
I was like, let me dig a little deeper into this. So I took the psych classes and I ended up finding the career path of social work with the help of a friend and my cousin, and really loved what I could do with it, the diversity of it, but most importantly, being able to support people in their mental health and when they're in a moment of crisis and not knowing what to do because our mind controls everything. Like if my mind isn't right, it's going to knock off everything in my life. So being able to be a support to people, to let them know what's going on, to explain things because of the stigma of mental health. A lot of people
Mhm.
don't know how to guide people like, "Hey, you got diabetes. Hey, you should probably cut back on your sugar, go see the doctor, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you got high blood pressure or cholesterol, you should probably not eat that." But when it comes to mental health, people are like, "I don't quite know what to do with your problem." Or even if it's not a problem, if it's an underlying disorder because of your brain chemistry, you need some support for that.
Right, right. Um, and it's good that people are self-aware and knowing what their real needs are. And I just had a conversation with a friend, and I have to put it out there. You love your friends, but you also understand that they may have some issues. And she was trying to solve this issue, and I don't think there's anything wrong with life coaches, but I said, Mama, I think you need something deeper than a life coach. So, um, being able to correctly identify and partner with a skilled individual that specializes in the needs that in your particular need in order for you to really get to the root of the issue to solve it. So I had to talk to her and I said, I'm glad that you're making steps. I just questioned that step, knowing that
Mhm.
she had, resources and insurance. Why did she choose that? And when she gave me her answer, I think it was her way of getting help, but not real help. It's like you're buffering the issue.
Mhm.
You're not solving it. So what would you tell individuals that's just kind of on the borderline of saying, I think I don't really need a therapist, or I don't need a counselor. I could, dive into something else. What signs are some exhibiting um, that they should lean more towards a professional? I'm not saying that life coaches is not professional, but you understand what I'm, licensed.
Yeah, and sometimes the life coach can be like you said, that buffer, that passive path of least resistance. It's like, if I go see a therapist, then I'm acknowledging that something is going on, or even there's that stigma of, oh, if you go to a therapist, you got to be like crazy, and that's not always the case. I always my passion, clearly is therapy, and I think of it this way: we go to the doctor to get checkups, right? Whether we go yearly, every couple years, but we go to the doctors to get checkup. We go to the eye doctor to get eye when we need to see a specialist, to see about our feet, see about different organs. We go see those people, but we neglect the thing that allows us to have the functioning to see those people, to make decisions. And we wait till it's so impactful in our life that it's disturbing. And then by that time, I'm not saying it's too late, but we wait so long to address the issues that, hey, this has impacted my life. This has
So
impacted my
much.
relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm not showing it on the outside, but it's hurting me on the inside. And maybe I'm even not choosing to acknowledge what other people are saying. So yeah, I always say go in, I have a lot of clients who say, "Hey, I'm just here for a tune-up just to check in to make sure I'm good." And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to do that. You may be at a good mental state and that's great, but there's nothing wrong with checking in with someone who's biased to kind of sort some things in life out, or even to make sure like, "Hey, this is a symptom I'm having.
Right.
Is it just acute or is it chronic? Is this going to keep coming back?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I always I recently have had anxiety. I didn't know what the symptoms was. Can you give us some of those symptoms for anxiety?
Yeah, so, their anxiety covers like a set of disorders. So sometimes we have a level of anxiety, which is normal for people. So, oh my gosh, what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, I'm getting married tomorrow, or I'm about to have a baby. There's that level of anxiety that comes. But when the thoughts are impacting your life, like anytime I think of someone with symptoms of something, is it impacting your life to the point where it's interrupting things? So that may look like, hey, excessive worry. Am I thinking about this a lot? I'm having a hard time controlling my thoughts. Sometimes it looks like digestive upset. I'm worried. I'm having to go to the bathroom a lot. My chest is tightening. I'm having shortness of breath.
Mm-hmm.
You can have those type of things when it comes down to anxiety. You can even feel depressed, those depressive symptoms when it comes to anxiety. You can feel sad. You can feel like you want to withdraw because of the worry that you're having. And that's where it kind of leads into like the fear of being around people, and anxiety when it comes with, being engaged in different things. But it can
Right.
also go to a panic disorder, which is in that family of anxiety disorders where it hits you all of a sudden and you're like, oh no, I don't know where this came from. My chest is tightening and I'm not really thinking about anything, but it just happens spontaneously.
Mm-hmm. I know, and I'll be transparent. I didn't have this problem until I got 44, and I'll be 47 next month, right?
You lying, you lying. You look
I will. Thank you. It's the Michigan blood in us.
yes.
But I found my mother when she was 44, deceased, and she died of heart issues.
Hmm.
And so once I got to that age, I think subconsciously, I was thinking, is this going to be my fate?
Mm.
So I start to have, I didn't understand they've done EKGs and all of this work, but oh my God. And because we're so overwhelmed nowadays, trying to get it all in, I
Yes.
started to have, I didn't know if it was panic. And then they said it wasn't panic. And then they said it was anxiety. But my heart, I would be fine. Then all of a sudden, my heart raced. Like, I was like, my heartbeat has never been 150 and I wasn't running. It
Mhm.
was like really scary. And there's moments where I have to just calm myself down, get out my own head, go to that quiet space. And, of course, I'm like, I understand it could be anxiety, and I'm doing a deeper dive as far as the medical, test and stuff like that. And that hasn't involved much, but I just never knew at this age I would be worried in that way. Is this going to be my fate?
Mhm.
So it can be hard. Are there any tips to, I shouldn't say lessen the anxiety? Of course, I'm on meds, girl. But it's like you could be sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I think it happens mostly when I overthink.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Mhm.
so I'm trying to navigate different tools that I could use in order for me to calm myself down a little bit faster.
Mhm.
But does it often, can you get anxiety even when you sleep?
Like, well, if you are overwhelmed with so much anxiety during the day, yes, it can impact your sleep. Because I think of PTSD and, post-traumatic stress disorder. So, when it comes to that, they're experiencing a level of anxiety when it comes to a traumatic event that happened, and that can definitely cause sleep disturbances. And the same with anxiety. If I'm worried about being in crowds, or if I'm worried, like in your case, of having heart issues, and if I'm constantly worrying about those things, that will cause me sleep disturbances. Any
Mhm.
mental health or any strong life event that happens, it can cause it affects your sleep. And that's why when I see clients, one of the questions I am asking them is, hey, how's your sleeping habits? What is sleep like for you? Because number one, your symptoms can affect your sleep. And number two, if you're not getting enough sleep, that can affect your symptoms. So it's like a two-way street.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on that, because I know that that's important for your mental and emotional stability to get enough
Mhm.
sleep. And I'm trying, my God. But what I found is, and I'm an advocate for, if you need medicine, you definitely take it. And I was it was a point of my life where I wasn't on meds, and then I
Mhm.
just got to a point where it was like, no, this is needed, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then I found out that some of the medications also cause you to have sleep issues. So I'm trying to get adjusted, and of course, and that's why you have professionals to kind of gauge where you are and what's needed in order to change up that regimen so it best fits your life. So
Yeah.
advocate on that, and I wish more people would. I know we're spreading the awareness, especially when it comes to mental health, when it comes to Black males within our cities, to make them assured that it's okay to have these issues. It's okay to go and see professional help so that you can live a full life. So that is, and I definitely need to bring up the anxiety, because I think it's good to have the viewers know that this can happen, that you can have a lot of symptoms and a lot of these illnesses, which are prevalent
It
within
is.
all of us, even
Mhm.
childhood traumas, honey.
Yeah, I just took a training on what was it, relational trauma, and just how trauma from a child when you're a child all the way to adulthood, like just how much it
Hmm.
impacts your life. Because a lot of people don't always. Okay, let me rephrase it this way. How you treat your children and the children you interact with is so important. It's important to have a healthy balance with children and to always be cautious. You don't want to be a helicopter parent, but you also
Hmm.
want to be very aware of what they're exposed to and who they're exposed to, and even how you treat them. Like, we need to prepare these children for their future so that they're well balanced, so that when they do
Right.
get older, they don't have to work through trauma. They don't have
Right.
to work through what I do in therapy, having to change their thought process because you cursed at them a bunch when they were younger, or you
Yeah.
told them that they were nothing, or even you told them that they were everything. And now as an adult, they think they're the stuff and no one can tell them nothing. And they have this distorted view of reality.
Yeah. I always say, growing up in the 70s, any 70s, 80s babies went through a lot. I know by far I let my children speak a lot more and have more more say so over their identity and
Mhm.
their wants, that they're not many clones of me, that that I exercise the ability to listen to their needs and rationalize. I mean, I might still say no, but I say at least I want them to have a voice. I think my daughter, which is 10 years younger than my son, gets it a lot more. And I think because there is this outpouring of the need to be heard,
Mhm.
that validated, my feelings are valid. So she is by far my debater of all the kids. And she is a top debater for the state of Alabama. So
Okay.
yeah, well, she was debating with me. So I said, well, let me give her an avenue to debate in, because I don't want you to debate with me. So, so she's going good. But in my ebook that I just put out, is called Freedom, the half of me made whole, and it goes through my true account of being molested. The earliest I remember is 4.
Mhm.
Probably the earliest maybe could be 2, up to 12, and many things that happened. And I tell people I was engineered. My mind was engineered from a very young girl. And so sometimes you'll think you're walking through life thinking that it's fixed, that it didn't affect you. And all the time, your relationships at work suffer, your relationships, in real life suffers. How you respond to things, how you recover to certain traumatic events can really be affected if you haven't acknowledged, hey, this did happen. This is
Mhm.
my truth. And it's taken me a long time to really come out in a brave way and say, I'm just one, but it stops with me. And that's why I like having individuals like yourself with the expertise to come on and continue these conversations, because there's things happening in homes and that drips down onto our kids, and that affects them, and what kind of things that they um, need to have before they leave our house.
Yeah.
There's things that I wanted to get set up for my child. We always think we're the best parent that we could possibly be, but we're also flawed as well. So I want, before she gets on campus and crumble like I did, I want to be able to, give her the additional support. And she didn't go through half of the things that, thank God, that I had to go through, but still things and stresses of life, and even the school and social media. Oh my God.
Yes.
That
Very
was
much so.
yes. So okay, let's talk about what is the primary objective when it comes to cognitive behavioral therapy.
So in simplest terms, what we do as cognitive behavioral therapists is we look at those behaviors, those thought processes that a person is having, and how do we change that? How do we take this negative thought and perception and give you the tools to change it? So if you think about someone with anxiety, so what do we do to challenge those thoughts? Okay, so you're having thoughts about, um, it's tied to, I'll use you for example. Your mother passed away at this age because of heart issues. Well, what circumstances were around there? Did your mom, go to the doctor regularly? Is this a condition that went in your family? What things are you doing? Like I hear that you said you run and you exercise. Are these things that are benefiting you? So I use my skills to, hey, we're going to talk about it. This is therapy. We're going to talk about your concerns. We're going to delve deep into the root of what's happening. But I'm also going to look at these behaviors and these thought processes to say, what tools can we utilize, and what um, evidence-based practices can we utilize to change those thoughts into a more productive way? Challenge those thoughts, challenge those behaviors, and say, hey, this is not the behavior or thought that I want to have. Let's replace it with some different ones. Because a lot of times, and this isn't for every disorder, because sometimes you do need, like you said, medication to support therapy. I'm an advocate for medication. I'm an advocate if you don't want to be on medication, but therapy is work, and sometimes you do need some extra support so that your mind is in a place to receive it. And then eventually, if you want to get off, we can wean you off if you feel more comfortable being on, or your brain is like, hey, I kind of need this because I'm missing some things. And that's okay. Like the same way we need other medications, your body's missing some things. So medication is a useful tool to help your mind and your body.
Yeah.
So I went a little rambling, but I hope that
No,
answers
no,
your
you're good.
question.
You're good. That is so true. I know for me, I was like really proud that I was only on one pill at 40 plus. I mean, my mother had a boatload of pills. I know a lot of people that are on multiple things, and then I reached at like 45, 46, and the doctor was like, "Oh, we're adding this," and I was like, "I don't want to take that." And I had a hard time taking. I had horrible postpartum. Oh my God, I had horrible. And so when they gave me pills for the first time, I just did not adjust well. And then of course, you go through several different ones to see what fits. And I do. I'm an advocate for doing what's best for you. For a long time, I was like, no, I can handle this by myself. And then life was flying. You're doing this and you're doing that, and you're trying to make all your dreams come true. And how do you
Mhm.
stay sane in the middle of it? So
Right.
that was me. I was like, oh, I'm like on the deep end. I hear a lot of stories, and I was like, I don't want to be like that person. I want to acknowledge my issues now. And I'm very candid in saying that I'm a two-time attempted suicide survivor. And so you get to know that, you push yourself
Mhm.
so much, and that could be covering up something that you don't want to deal with on the back end. Sometimes you can overload, and this point in my life, I am glowing, but I'm not overloading. I say
Yeah.
no, I cancel, I space out, and I listen to my body. And I think a lot of people have this thing of, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm so far behind and I have to do that. And that's so detrimental to your mental wellness, that it could affect you. And I don't want to bottom out. I never want to see myself in a position where I was in 2015. That was my old life. So now I'm more able to say, hey, today isn't a good day. Today isn't a good week. I am
Mhm.
crumbling this month.
Yeah, and you gotta know yourself. You gotta find that balance, and like you said, say no. And even, I always remember that the only person I'm trying to keep up with is me. Because the more I try to compare, like if when I started my practice, I'm looking at all these other people that maybe started a practice, they're making six figures now, they're getting all these speaking engagements and doing this stuff. And I'm just like, man, I got experience, I got connections. Like, why am I not, why am I not doing as well as them? Or even with the stuff that I have still on my to-do list today, why can't
Mhm.
I knock these things off my to-do list? And I have to realize I can't compare myself to them. They're not me. And who knows what sacrifices they're making? Who knows what they're doing behind the scenes? I have to remember, hey, I'm a newlywed. I have commitments outside of my home. I have
Yep.
a whole 2-year-old who keeps me from, I remember when I was younger, before I had a son, you stay up all hours of the night to get stuff done. I can't do that because I have to mentally prepare to have parent a 2-year-old. And
Yeah.
those of you who have engaged with a 2-year-old know you need all of your
Oh, yes.
capacity about you to manage that. So you do.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to piggyback off of like symptoms and trauma, because some of the times we don't look at our symptoms as symptoms and our behaviors as symptoms because they're normalized by society. So, when you do anything in excess, it's abnormal. Or when you do any type of risky behavior, there's something else going on.
Oh,
You
yeah.
get a lot of people who have intense trauma, especially those have been, molested in the past. And what do? They tend to act out. That comes out in relationships, not for everybody, but for some people that
Right.
may be, hey, I'm not able to have a steady relationship, or I act out sexually to try and cope with my past trauma. So I
Right.
may have a lot of relationships or a lot of sexual partners. Substance abuse, because I'm doing this in excess because there's something else going on that I'm trying to cope with, and I don't know how to deal with it. So I would say, come to therapy, come get a checkup. In the immediate thing, you may not be experiencing symptoms. Like, let's say a traumatic experience happened, you were in a really bad car accident. Right now, I'm not doing good, but wait a minute, I'm seeing some changes in my behavior. Like, I had a client who was in a really bad car accident. She was a teenager. She was hit by a car while she was running with her track team. And she started to notice, and her parents started to notice that her grades were dropping because as went along, it impacted her body. She was athletic. She wasn't able to run anymore. She wasn't able to participate in sports. She had to have lots of surgeries. That impacted her behavior. When you see my behavior was like this before, and after this event, it's now like this, go get some help, go get some support. Or if you're seeing like, hey, I'm engaging in some risky behavior, my friends are giving me a side eye about this, and I know they're not hating on me and they want to support me, maybe I should go talk to someone about what's going on. Because if they're giving me the side eye, it's not just because of nothing. It's usually because of, there's something else going on.
Yeah, I know. Healing for me wasn't immediate, and people wanted the quick fix, and it's not. It's a work. It's a never-ending work.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you won't see it on the outside, but you don't have to see it on the inside. You have to feel it on the inside. I mean, you don't have to feel it on the outside. You have to feel it on the inside first.
Mm-hmm.
Before anyone else sees it, acknowledges your transition. You should just worry about you making the necessary changes in your life for betterment. I tell you, this since 2015, girl. It's been a complete transition, and it's never ending. But I love every time there's a fold, there's a better version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it should be, that you're becoming a better version, a healthier version of yourself. And I think that's when the magic starts to happen, when we put the work in.
And therapy, mental health is hard work. Like when you break a bone at the doctor, it has a set time to heal. But if you were constantly using your arm and they didn't put in the cast, it's going to take longer to heal. So you have to think about that with your mind. It's not like I can give my mind a rest and just process, everything that's going on. Like, those are some good skills. Let me just sit here and heal and, be around all the doves and the birds and the fields. And I'm just no, you got to live your life. So that's why it's a process. So even while I'm going to therapy, I experience life. Life is going to re-traumatize you. Life is going to bring some stuff up. Like, especially you think about grief. People see therapy because of grief. You go to a certain store, oh, that reminds me of my mom. Oh, that reminds me of my loved one. Mm-hmm. So now I am feeling those emotions again while I'm trying to process them. Right. So you have to realize, like you said, it's a journey. Your mind took all this time to accommodate to a certain behavior. It's going to take some time for it to unlearn or cope with those behaviors.
Right. I know in some of my speaking settings, I get lots of people that come up to me. Most of them are good. But sometimes I do get those individuals that come up and they're in tears because they're triggers. And I always tell people, I don't know, but my thought process is that triggers are not always bad. For me, I think triggers are more acknowledgement of the areas of your life that you still need to work on. So the fact that you're triggered, I hope that that whoever is listening to me acknowledges that it's there, that you still have the ability to work on that issue, so that it's not so triggering anymore. So triggers are they necessary? Are they a bad thing, would you say? Or can triggers really be an acknowledgement of a deeper issue that maybe you running from and hadn't resolved?
Yeah, and I think that's great the way you word it, because triggers, if you think about it, they're symptoms. If I am triggered by someone's behavior, then this issue for me. So then it's the deeper delve of, why is this an issue for me? Why do I have strong feelings and a strong reaction to this? Is it because I've dealt with it? Is it because it resonates with me? And if it's so strong that it's impacting me, or if it's giving me a feeling like, I don't like this, I really need to deal with this, then talk to someone. Don't push it down and push it away because it's inconvenient or this isn't the right time. Find ways to talk to someone, even if it's once a month, even if it's every couple months, but realizing that if it's a trigger, it's a symptom. It's something else going on, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
In my ebook, at the very beginning, I do have a disclaimer, and I say this could be triggering, because a lot of the things that I do put in there, I know that it could affect someone. So at least, I'm making I'm making that warning, but I'm going to share my truth, and sharing your truth lets other people know that they're not alone.
Mhm.
That your life can look much different than it looks right now. That you can have the things that make you happy and whole and joyful. That it really exists, and we don't have to, smile behind a mask. I speak very candidly, even on my page. And some days, because we're cranking out all of this stuff and this marketing material, and we're showing up and we're shiny and we're smiling, don't be fooled. That entrepreneur is going through it.
Oh, listen. They tell you when you start your own business, it's hard work. They tell you this, but when you're in it, like it's you. Like I tell people all the time, because I have a passion for what I do, it makes it a little easier. But
Yes.
there are some days I think about going to my 9 to 5 because I didn't have to deal with a lot of this stuff that I deal with.
Mhm.
So yeah. So
And
I'll
even
just
more so because now everything is in your face. Everything is content creation, and this, everything is online, for business. It's not the days where our grandparents had word of mouth and you picked up the yellow
Mhm.
pages and stuff like that.
You
It's much more.
It's like 2 jobs. Like, I'm thinking in my head, I need to hire someone to do this for me, but, I'm a starting entrepreneur. The side money to be able to hire someone to do this for me
Yeah,
isn't there, so now I'm like, this is another job for me to promote myself. So
right.
some of it is word of mouth, some of it is putting myself on websites, but it's like if I hit the payment running and I really went with my social media, I might have, more speaking engagements and stuff, but who
And
has
you
the
doing that? I see you,
you
girl.
know, I'm trying.
You getting
I'm
on stages and stuff.
Yes,
That
but
is good.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm putting in the work. My mentor, Glendora Devine. So if you're a therapist out there and you need some support, she is great.
She is
Um,
great.
she is, and she's been getting me together, even though, I need to get my stuff together again. But she's great. But
Yeah,
I was gonna say, even with me, recently I've done it in the past, but recently I got another therapist just to do a check-in for me,
mhm,
just to say, "Hey, Carol, you've had this stuff. You had your son, you got married, a lot of stuff
that's a
happened
lot.
between there. Yeah, so let me go and get a checkup with my therapist." So I started meeting with a therapist because even us professionals need support, especially because we are taking in everybody's stuff all day and we have our own stuff to sort through. So,
True.
it you need that support. It's okay to get support with your mental health because if your mental isn't right, it affects everything.
Yeah.
Like if your body isn't right, yeah, you can't function, but if your mental ain't right,
And
that affects everything.
I wanted to touch on the subject because I see so many. I've been married for 17 years. Well, of course, that comes with some challenges. I'm not gonna lie. And that's what happens in a marriage.
Mhm.
However, a lot of my friends are, I hate to say, they're going through a lot of emotional and, issues within their relationships. And for me, I think because I can identify on placing my wants, my dreams, my goals on a back burner, because you're exhausting so much energy into making this relationship work. And that you kind of fall to your hopes and dreams fall to the wayside. I'm be like, oh my God, you went back to get a degree, sis. What you doing in that degree? You you wanted to do this, but that's been on the back burner. So I always have these questions on relationships where sometimes you got to pull yourself out of that core so that you can work on self, because I find that was my transition when I was in another relationship and it was completely toxic. I
Mhm.
mean, completely toxic. One of the things that I had to do was stop worrying about the relationship and start giving back to me. And once I started to just feed myself, I started to talk less, scream less, got more sleep, but I was more aware. I could see better. Not
Mhm.
here, because our ears can be so deceiving. I
Yes,
tell
we
people you
can.
can hear better with your eyes. Is that person gonna do them? And you'll be able to see it. And I think it's hurtful when I see a lot of women that are pushing and pulling in these relationships while and wasting time. Oh my God. And so then when
Mhm.
you waste time in this relationship over, now you're trying to recover 5 and 10 years, because that's the amount of time that you lost, that you could have been working on your goals, your dreams, your next business, that book, that other degree. So that's what can you toxic relationships. I think you just talked about narcissistic behavior.
Yes.
Yeah, I said that.
Yes.
You give us some
Okay.
signs of some narcissistic patterns. I think I went through them, experienced them. Oh my God, it's so hurtful. That alone will send you into counseling.
Yes, it will. And, a lot of times with people who are narcissistic, you'll get people who are concerned about themselves. They're not empathetic. So you may say, "Oh, I'm in pain. I'm in pain. I want to do this. This is my passion." And they're like, "Hey, it doesn't involve me. It doesn't make me look good." Um,
Yes.
they're not going to have that empathy towards you. It's going to be about me, me, me. They're going to want to attach themselves to something with clout, something with a name, something that's going to make them seem important. So you'll see them, like spending money doing things. You'll see them connect. Oh, I'm going to go to this golf club, and you're like, you can't afford that. No, but this is how I want to look, so I'm going to do this. Um, and yeah, they're so consumed about themselves they can't see outwardly. And
How,
that's
what can you say about the person that's trying to break away from individuals like that? What other than, of course, sitting in a seat and seeing you, what 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 kind of steps can they do in their now? I always tell people you can even start even in a toxic household. You can reclaim your life. There's stuff that you can do even in that bad environment. What are some
Mhm.
beginning steps for them? Oh, I know. Get your journal. Your
Yes.
journal.
Um, I
Journal.
I do have a journal. It is on Amazon. You should definitely get it. It is, I'm working on doing a self-guided one, but this is more of a journal. So it teaches like coping skills, self-care skills, and things of that sort. So writing stuff down, like sometimes you need an outlet, or like you said, seeing with your eyes. Let me write down some of these behaviors. Let me write these things down so I can go back and look on them and compare. Because sometimes when we're in it, and that's how when you're in a narcissistic relationship, you may not see things all the time. Like you get so accustomed to it's your new norm
Mhm.
that you're not realizing things. And then if you write it down, you're gonna look and say, "Oh, wait a minute,
Mhm.
that happened, and that's not normal." Or he said he wouldn't do that, or she said she wouldn't do that again, and it happened. And a lot of times you do see narcissistic personality disorder in men. Not to say it can't happen in women, but you see it a lot more in men. Um, so setting some firm boundaries with that person.
Boundaries. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes,
Boundaries.
you gotta
Yeah.
set those bound, and that's in any relationship, whether you're married, whether you're dating, whether you are at work, whether it's a friendship. Set some healthy boundaries.
Mhm.
Realize what, because boundaries tell people how to treat you. I always tell my clients that
Yeah.
boundaries show people, okay, this is what I will allow you to do and allow you to engage with me. This is what I will not allow in your behavior and your actions towards me. So with narcissism, hey, these are my boundaries. I'm realizing that this behavior is unhealthy. If you're choosing not to acknowledge these boundaries and go get some help, then we need to figure something out.
Yeah.
You need to, because this isn't working. But boundaries are big, and when you have someone with narcissism, they're not going to like boundaries.
Not at all.
They're not going to like
The
them.
world revolves around them.
Mhm.
There is no boundaries. Your
They're
boundaries are my. I consume all of you.
right.
So, yeah.
So you have to set those firm boundaries and seek out support. You getting counseling it's helpful. Like you may think, oh, they need counseling. No, with you going through that, just like you said, it can hurt you mentally and emotionally getting that abuse. Like you're not worth nothing. If you don't do what they say, what value do you have? Like
Mhm.
getting that beat up every day, you can be a strong-willed
Oh
person, but
my
there's only
goodness.
so much.
You become a fraction of who you were with them. It's so frightening. I mean, to the point where I literally had to think about the words I said before they left my mouth.
That's exhausting.
It is exhausting. Absolutely not. I was like, oh no, somebody else stronger than me because I ain't that strong. And so instead, I'm reclaiming my life. It's
Mhm.
so fun. My husband is by far not anywhere near a narcissist. But even with him, we have this joke where he would say something, and I think, did you just really say that? I said, you showing your 1969. Says it. He hates it when I call him out because it's letting him know those are the old ways of doing things. We're moving to a new territory, and these are my boundaries. And he always to your boundaries, yes. And it's joking. I'm glad that I have a mate that I can joke like that.
Mhm.
That he acknowledges it and then rephrases, certain things. Even when he talks to my child, she'll do the same thing. Dad, we don't do that anymore.
Love it.
But I absolutely love it. Now, okay, we've talked about a lot of stuff. Now let's get into this self-care right quick. What does self-care to you look like? Because it's very different for me, I believe. And that's different for everybody. But what does your self-care look like?
My self-care is what can I do to fill my cup back up? After I done poured out being someone's therapist, someone's friend, someone's sister, someone's mama, someone's wife, what is gonna recharge me? So does that mean I go hang out with my friends? Does that mean I go to get a massage? Does that mean I go get a pedicure? Does that mean I go get my hair done? Does that mean I tell my husband, hey, I need a little getaway? Is it okay that I leave for a little bit and go out
Mm-hmm.
of town? Because I wanted to revisit that. When you are even when you're married, you're two people. So if I'm not taking care of myself as Carol, not Carol the mom, Carol the wife, Carol the therapist, if I'm not taking care of Carol and doing stuff that fills my cup, that makes me um, feel good, if I am not vocalizing my needs, if I'm not taking care of me, I'm not going to be able to be that wife, to be the mom, the therapist that people need me to be. In the same way, I want my husband to take care of himself. And when we come together, hey, we're gonna accomplish some things. We're gonna be great together. But individually, I gotta do stuff to take care of me that fills my cup up and do it on a regular basis so
Right.
that at the end of the month, I'm like, well, I got my monthly massage in on to get through the next
Yes.
month with no self-care. But that end of the month massage is waiting for me. No, I got to do little
Yeah.
stuff, even if it means sitting in the car for 20, 30 minutes away from my family to get myself together. That's self-care.
Yeah. I think during the pandemic, I started something that was great until it took over. And then my husband was giving me a side eye. I got into plants inside first.
Mhm.
And it started with him. He gave me a plant. I was like, oh, I'm grown. Once I can keep a plant alive, I'd be like my aunties. So I kept the plant alive, and they was like, "Oh, mommy!" It was the easiest plant. They gave me one of the easiest plant to keep alive. So if you kill that plant, you really just don't have a green thumb. But it grew from 2 in the house to now 28 in the house, and now a
Oh.
garden in the front and the back. Girl, that is my self care. I love being able to play my 90s music, my jazz music, my, salt and pepper,
Mhm.
my Glorilla,
Yes.
just to get in a calming space. It's so funny because my husband said, you just want to play in water. That's all it is. It was, that's fine with me. Those are good things. For me, it could be for other people. It could be, going to sit down and getting a pedicure and manicure. I stopped wearing nails because unless it's like a, occasion or
Mhm.
something, I don't want to sit in front of you. I could do. I don't know if it's also ADHD. I don't like sitting there for 2 hours. I just don't. And I'm a Detroit girl, and so if I get nails, I want to bling them out, which takes more time. And so I don't want to be in their face. That is the most dreaded thing. I'd rather have my foot spa at home and do it myself. But I stopped pushing myself to do that. And so I just had to make up certain things that was self-care for me. And we need to let people know that you have to incorporate. I didn't have this when I was 30, my early 30s. I didn't think about self-care. Maybe I'm lost. Like, I'm just learning self-care like the end of my 30s. And I'm glad that we're bringing this up and sharing this with our boys and girls.
Yes.
About self-care, because it's necessary, especially with my daughter, who is a very high achiever. She takes on a lot, and that's a different thing. I said, girl, I'm gonna have you. She needs to talk to somebody, because she packs. It's too much, and so I have to monitor her and say, you're doing way too much, and I don't want her to set herself up, to not be able to complete or do her best, because she's a very high achiever.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure that she takes time out to even meditate, clear your mind. She does she listens to the ASMR things. For me in the beginning, it was a little weird. I get it now, but anything to just relax you. So we need to advocate a little bit more, both men and women, to incorporate self-care,
Mm-hmm.
to get repowered.
Yeah, just think like I'll have this. I have my water bottle. This is what I show my clients. Like, this is you. This is you. So in the beginning of the day or the week, you're up here. You're full. Every day you're pouring out more of yourself, and eventually you're empty, and you're expecting to get a sip and to continue to use this thing, but it can't be used for its purpose because everything is out of it.
Right.
So, you wonder why you yelling at your kids, or you got this short fuse at work, or you got road rage, or you're feeling depressed or overly anxious, or, I once had managed my symptoms of my disorder, but now, everywhere. Like, I always tell people when they start therapy with me, what are your self-care skills? What are your coping skills? How much are you using them? Because if you're not filling your cup back up or learning how to regulate yourself when your mood or your symptoms get a little bit out of whack, then it'll throw everything off.
That's true. Now, I was doing some digging on your page. Ziva Therapeutics Spa.
Yeah.
Is yours?
It's a collective. So I have it with two. We share a suite in Southfield, Michigan. So I, along with therapy, I also do aromatherapy and aroma touch. So I love how essential oils can have an impact on your mood, your emotions, and your overall health. So I do that, and I do a form of relaxation, which is aroma touch, using for lack of a better word, manipulation or massage of different parts of your hand with oils that resonate with you as a calming experience to help you regulate your emotions.
Oh, that's total self-care there. Okay.
Yeah.
I can deal with that. That is awesome.
Yeah. So we have a total self. Pardon?
Are you open now?
We are having our grand opening August 19th. Officially. Now we're working on getting our website and everything together. But stay tuned for that. But one of the other partners, she is a registered nurse, and she offers ways to do body contouring where it's not surgical. So if you want to sculpt your body, tighten up some areas, she creates wellness plans, and she does wellness plans and those, I don't know, for lack of a better word, the machines and devices to help with the body sculpting.
Yeah.
She also does the yoni steams and foot detoxes. And then the last person, she's also a social worker, and she does like a VR virtual reality massage experience. She also offers services where you are able to do restorative practices, where some people who may not be so much into therapy but want to learn techniques and have an avenue of communicating and problem solving and dealing with difficult conversations and just overall team building, she offers those services. So we decided to come together to form Ziva Therapeutic Spa, where you can get a combination of those services, but also get our individualized services that we provide.
Awesome. That is total body wellness.
It sure is.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm thinking about it, and I was like, wow, I could see myself in there for 2 hours.
Mhm. Very easy. Like, so for those of you all in Michigan, check us out. And for those of you all just interested in our model, come talk to us. We would love to replicate it.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have any other seminars, programs going on at this time? Things for our listeners to kind of tune into, whether online or in person?
Not at this time. Well,
You have a lot going on though.
I do. Well, I will say in August, I believe it's the second weekend in August. I'm going to put the flyer on my website. I can't remember all the details right now, so that's on me because I do have a lot going on. But if you like me, follow me on Instagram, you will see I'm a part of we're going to be at a wellness fair in Detroit. It's called the LIVE Outreach. So we're going to be a part of that. We'll be there, and I'll be speaking about mental health and about my practice. So if you're in Michigan, please like my Instagram page, and there'll be more details about that. And of course, our grand opening in Southfield, Michigan is going to be on the 19th of August. So that's all I have going on right now. But definitely follow me on my page so you can stay aware of everything going on. And I'm also on Facebook under Serene Counseling and Wellness.
Awesome. Awesome. It was a pleasure having you on today. I hope to have you back as a spotlight expert so that we can keep these conversations going. It's definitely needed. Thank you again.
Thank you. I would love to be back. Thank you for having me and having such great conversation today.
No problem. Guys, that's our show. Of course, all of the links and contact information is below. Please connect with her for any services that you may need. You know someone that may be struggling during this time. You want to get them in front of an expert like Carol Gilbert. You definitely want to visit the grand opening of Ziva Therapeutic Spa. I believe it's in Southfield. I'll make sure that all of the information is below for that as well. Of course, my ebook is out there for purchase. Freedom, the Half of Me Made Whole, will give you gems and strategies needed in order for you to recover everything you think you lost and actually transform your life to betterment. It has been, well, I always say, your audacity never ends, but this show does. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful evening.